Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, Premium Review Episode 4, Avengers Infinity War. And joining us tonight is my co-host Jay.
What's up, guys?
And my wife, Lauren.
Hey.
So Avengers Infinity War, the thing that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks leading up to this. We've been doing those Marvel lightning rounds, going through each and every single one of the Marvel films in each of the phase. And we also did our top 5 Marvel films. And now we're going to be reviewing the film that we've been anticipating for 10 years.
And you and Lauren actually have been watching every single film leading up to this as well.
I'm honestly, I always talked about at the beginning of this year when we started recording that I am getting Marvel fatigue, and this movie might have ended that. I may no longer have fatigue on it. I want more now. When before I didn't anymore. I was done, and now I want more again.
I never felt like I didn't want any less.
It got annoying to me. I don't know why.
The movies are so good. I mean, yes, there's some stinkers within the bunch.
I think they had a short little stretch where things kind of got a little sour.
Exactly.
Right.
But it was very short.
Right in that Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, and Spider-Man era.
And
I was
Ant-Man, kind of, it was like during that weird little.
Oh, I love Ant-Man.
I love Ant-Man.
Well, I enjoyed
I love Ant-Man.
I'm trying to think. After Ant-Man, those couple years after that, right?
Yeah.
That's
exactly it. Yeah. And
okay.
This has reinvigorated me. I am
more than anything for me. The last part of the movie, which we won't spoil until spoiler section.
Right.
That was when the movie just went way up for me.
Oh yeah.
Really? I thought right from the beginning it was great, and it never got bad throughout the entire movie.
The length got to me.
Really? Because I thought
you were the only person that
2 hours?
I've heard say that the length was too much for you.
Yeah, I felt like we were in the theater for 20 minutes, and that was it. Like
everyone else said, it's been a breeze. It was a breeze. It was a breezy 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I really wanted to see this a second time before recording this episode, but wasn't able to. And I do think that it will go by a lot smoother the second watch, and I think it'll be a little bit more enjoyable overall because you're just not as I don't know.
I watched it on Friday night. Me and Lauren went to the theaters. We saw it in the Dolby Theater, which was awesome. It didn't matter if people were whispering to each other because the Dolby Theater is so loud.
Yeah,
you can't hear a fucking thing other than the film.
And what I did like is when people did clap or they got excited. I know it's happened to you. You bursted out, I think, twice during the
once.
No, it was twice, but
there was once where I literally jump up and went, yeah.
No, there was twice. I won't go into that. We can talk about it in spoilers when you did it. But everyone kept it 2 seconds. They didn't take their applause way too much where you miss there was something else in a scene.
I had a tame crowd because it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
There was one poor fucker next to me on a blind date, I guess. And then something Spider-Man said. He goes, "Yeah, Spider-Man!" And no one in the theater went with it. You know how you feel the crowd, everybody's cheering for the same thing.
Right.
He said something to a very dumb joke of Spider-Man's and was very excited by it and cracking up loudly and clapping for it. No one else did. And I was like,
I don't remember that happening.
I hope it wasn't we're using our fake names.
No, it was not that. No, it was in that time period though in the film. But I had a great time. I liked the crowd that we were with. Everything. There was a guy dressed. All right, so our theater was fucking hot.
Yeah. I don't think the air was working that night.
My balls were floating in soup by the time we were walking out of there. That might have been because I was very anxious and like very like
Sure.
you know, up and nervous for these characters, not knowing, you know, what's going to happen to them. But it was also the AC was just not working. And there was some guy in a full on Captain America like onesie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like legit
But it was
movie
like-
replica.
Like a
costume onesie or like a onesie?
No. It was like a leather onesie.
Like he bought the authentic movie
Right.
replica prop outfit and was wearing
Damn.
it there. And he wore that the whole time. And he had like big red boots on and everything. And I was like, dude, if my balls are swimming in my jeans, like his just gotta be just outrageously wet. He's gonna take those
He
pants
has his
off.
own sauna.
He's gonna take his pants off and like literally just dump dirty ball sweat out of it.
Right. Ew.
Oh, God.
It was his wife. You know she's gonna make him shower before he touches her when they get home.
Yeah, she's not touching Captain America until after the shower.
But ultimately, we had a great time at the theater. So seeing it in Dolby was amazing. The visuals
I
were
bet.
were amazing. Just everything just looked so good. And you know, let's start getting into the review. I mean, I think that speaks about the film. I mean, the film looked fantastic. It was one of the brightest Marvel films that they've
Yes.
had. So like a lot of Marvel films, especially in phase 1 and phase 2, where it's almost like they put like this filter on to like purposely like dull the colors down. You know, Captain America is not bright blue and not bright red and stuff. I felt like everything, all the colors, everything was amped up in this, just like it was for Thor Ragnarok as well, where everything was bright and vibrant, and you feel that same. I feel like with the newer films, they're allowing brightness.
Plus with Dolby, you're getting
I
the
was going to
sharpest.
say, I
kind of
also think
visual,
the
because
theater-
it didn't stand up to me as much as far as the colors.
Yeah, I think it was our theater.
I thought they did have a great contrast. I think they played certain scenes darker than other scenes effectively, and then also having it bright as well. I mean, so I think it worked both ways throughout the whole film.
I mean, we know they have fantastic visuals as far as CGI and everything goes. I mean, you don't really need to talk about that. I mean, that's you know what you're getting with a Marvel film. You're getting
Nothing lacked quality.
no,
No.
exactly. You're getting quality. And the Russo brothers, I think after seeing Civil War, you know that they can handle an ensemble cast, and they had a fucking task ahead of them for this one. Over 20 characters, they had to find time to give them each their own time, as well as make them effective to the plot and everything.
And they did it with every single character.
And they did a good job. You could sit there and say, I wish I got more of this. I wish I got more of that. But then would you have sat through a 3.5 hour film?
But also,
Yes.
but it also has to fit the story of this
Exactly.
film in particular. So a lot of characters do come back or come into the movie halfway through the movie, or even 3/4 of the way
And
through
if
the
you
movie.
look, James Gunn was a producer on it, and Jon Favreau was a producer on it.
Yes.
They don't have writing credits, but they did write lines for their characters.
Oh, I like that.
So
That's good.
Jon Favreau was writing lines for Tony Stark.
Okay.
And then you have James Gunn writing lines for all the Guardians as well, which I think really fit for the film
because they never directed all these other characters.
Exactly.
you know?
Right.
So you're not getting the Russo's version of what they think of you know, what they think the Guardians should sound like, or what their jokes should sound like. You're getting James Gunn basically giving you
That's smart.
Guardians Volume 2.5, which is nice because it works, you know, in the favor of it. And most of your jokes throughout the film are really coming from the Guardians.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, I loved spending so much time with them because I do want to know what's going on in space, especially when you're fighting someone like Thanos. You do need that aspect of it. You do need to feel like this is a galactic threat more so than just a threat to Earth, even though it is.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense that it would start from them.
Right.
Because they obviously are more aware of Thanos than people on Earth.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they picked us up and gave us nice resolutions to characters right off the bat. We get a resolution to Tony right off the bat. What he's been up to and stuff like that. They address certain things about his character since we've seen him last, and they do the same thing with Doctor Strange and with Hulk, and especially with Thor and the Asgardians. I mean,
yes,
the film kind of picks up right where
Right
they
there.
left off
Yep.
in Thor Ragnarok.
yeah.
So they had a lot to balance, and I think with 20 odd some characters, they did a fantastic job of doing it. Even though you might not have gotten everything that you thought you wanted, I think you got some things that you weren't expecting as well, which was all a nice surprise.
So I also really enjoyed the pairings that they put throughout the picture. Now I don't want to spoil about too many.
Yeah,
of
who's
the-
with
of
who.
the-
Who's with who.
of who's who, and all that
It's safe
stuff.
to say
but-
from trailers, we know Thor is with the Guardians.
Which
makes
that's,
sense.
That's
Yes.
safe.
Right.
And we know that from the trailers that Tony is also at some point with the Guardians.
right, and with Spider-Man.
So, and obviously from trailers, we know that at some point Tony is with the Guardians as well.
And Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man, Doctor Strange.
He's got his
Right.
Tony Stark suit on at some point.
It was
which
pretty
is-
clear from the trailers that we were going to be getting a divided Avengers cast because,
I mean, there's people also in Wakanda.
yeah, exactly.
Along with, I think, New York as well. And
We won't spoil how they all tie together or anything like
Right.
that. But so I don't think any of that stuff is spoilers to say. I did enjoy all those pairings though, and I thought they chose some odd pairings at times too, which was nice. And because you kind of expect Tony to be with Spider-Man, right? And that's not an odd pairing given what we saw in Spider-Man Homecoming, but him with Doctor Strange, and which is funny because so many people compared Doctor Strange to him, including myself. So to see them together, it helped them stand apart from each other and see how different their characters really
It did,
are.
and Doctor Strange was a standout for me. He was one of the characters. If I was going to give you guys three characters, and which is hard to do when you really think about it, overall that stood out the most throughout this picture, I think it was Thanos,
Thanos,
Yes.
For me.
hands down. We'll get to him soon, but
Thor, and Doctor Strange. I think because Doctor Strange surprised me. I thought he had an interesting role and did a good job with that. And then
Thanos and Thor were the two.
I really love Thor.
Were the two that I thought Thanos, Thor, and Gamora. If I had to pick three, those are the three characters that I think showed the best like ranges of emotions and they played great attention to their characters in previous films and where they're going from here. And I thought they gave the best performances. Zoe Saldana was absolutely fantastic as Gamora. And she's been great in the past, especially when she was dealing with Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But here I got to see a different facet of her.
And she helped the audience understand
Thanos,
how dangerous and powerful, and his mindset as well.
Exactly.
Thanos,
and that was a nice perspective to get because Thanos could have very easily been a giant purple punchy guy who just showed up and beat the shit out of
and it's
everyone.
just
Right.
powerful just to be powerful,
Right, exactly.
You don't know anything else about him.
He could have been like the Red Skull was in First Avenger, where he was just a guy that wanted world domination,
Right.
But instead they gave him a philosophy, a depth, and at certain points when I'm listening to Thanos talk about his plan, I was like, shit, yeah, that makes sense. Do it.
Makes sense, right?
And Josh Brolin's line delivery, I
Why
thought
are we
was
stopping this, guys?
phenomenal. Yeah.
Why are we stopping this? Genocide's not so bad. when you hear Josh Brolin talk about it, it's not so bad.
That's the most brilliant thing about it. It's like, yeah, you really start to understand and like kind of feel for it.
I could see him on a podium with a shitty comb over, just going, "This genocide is going to be huge," and everyone would be like, "Yep, I'm doing it," because Thanos said it. Look at him.
Great comparison.
But no, I bought the villain, which is something everybody knows that Marvel has always struggled with. How good their villains are or aren't. And I think lately they've been paying extreme attention to detail with their villains and giving them a voice and giving them a reason and something that an audience can get behind. Because if an audience doesn't understand the villain, then the villain just is a plot device and that's it. But when it's a fully fleshed out character and you understand their motivations, it's perfect. And then you wind up kind of seeing things from the villain's point of view, and that's what makes a great villain. And Marvel in the comics has always done a fantastic job of that. In the films, not so much. But lately, with Killmonger, and now Thanos, and even to an extent Zemo in Civil War, I think they're giving us villains now that are not just two-dimensional, characters. They're three-dimensional. There's so many facets to them, and you could really actually sit there and dissect them just like you can any of the rest of the Marvel characters. So yeah, Thanos was great.
You guys have any non-spoiler things that bothered you at all throughout the picture? Or it's hard to. I guess for me, like I said before, generally the length I feel like it just. I guess when it jumped around from. Okay, now we're moving on to this planet or this world or this groupings and this groupings. I kind of felt that weight. Nope.
I felt like it wasn't long enough, and if I had it my way, if they could have put both parts 1 and 2 together in one theater, I would have sat through 4 or 5 hours.
One day they will probably.
Yeah, they might.
Well, AMC was selling the tickets for like 36 hours of Marvel
That's
films.
ridiculous.
So like imagine those people, like they probably come out like light sensitive, emaciated.
I know.
That can't be healthy. No.
Because me and Lauren originally we wanted to do our rewatchings in one weekend. We were going to try to do it. And then
gosh.
Which that
took us 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It took us 3 weeks, which was nice. We took a break from it for like 5 days, and then went back to it and powered through it and finished. We actually finished Black Panther
right before we left.
Minutes before going into Infinity War. So it was nice, but for me, length not an issue at all. I'm not with Lauren. I wouldn't have sat through a 4-hour movie. I mean, I wouldn't have sat through a Titanic length of a film, but I never felt the length at all. I think some things that were cut out. I know there's things that were cut out. We got character posters for people who don't show up in the film, and I'm not talking about Hawkeye. Shut up, everybody.
Right.
There's certain people that didn't show up. Certain people from other films we didn't get resolutions to. We might get them in the next one, so that's not a knock.
Yeah,
it's not a knock on anything. But I just there's. I understand with what they had to still put something out that a 12 and 13-year-old could sit through too. Mm-hmm. Lauren's 30 years old, so she can sit through a 4-hour film and not fidget. But, the 10-year-old kid who just got brought by his dad might not sit through that. And Marvel has to think of them when they're doing these.
That's a good point. You're right.
So they do have to cut certain things out. I think for me, like all Marvel movies, leaps of logic. There's certain plot holes that are there, and I understand that they exist because you have to tell a story, and you can't think your way out of every scene. I did feel like some people showed up to save the day a lot at just the right moment all the time. It seemed like every fight came to a resolution when someone mysteriously showed up.
There was also some characters that didn't fight the way you would think they would be able to fight. Yeah. Vision, for example, for me, I think throughout the whole, every time he makes an appearance in every single movie he's ever been in, I thought he was very underwhelming. He's supposed to be this like weird, powerful, godlike figure, and he just never really does anything. When you really think about it.
It was the same argument for Thor in the original Avengers. So, at some point, you have to, when you start introducing these giant powers, you have to somehow get them out of the fight, because
I understand that. Yeah.
Because they become too powerful,
And we'll talk about more about that in spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's some characters that, that falls in line with.
Pacing's a problem. It's really not. What it is it didn't have to pace itself, You're just jumping around from this group to that group to that group to that
group. And I thought it was easy to follow with them jumping around from different planets and scenes. I thought it was pretty easy.
There are times where I felt myself going, well, wait, what's going on with that group? Can we get back to that? Because I'm kind of curious about that now that we've just spent 15 minutes with Spider-Man. Like, I want to go and I want to see someone else. I want to see what other people are up to. A lot of the stuff that was happening on Earth, I felt like that was the part that was rushed. That was the part that I felt like we could have used more of. We got a lot of what's going on in space, and I liked that. But I felt like Earth was rushed. But knowing how the film ends, I'm pretty sure we're probably going to spend a fair bit of time on Earth next time.
Right.
So it's tough to judge just this film because even though the next one, it's no longer a direct sequel to it. It's not part 1 and part 2. The next one very much is the immediate continuation of this, and
Right.
it is a part 2.
And they're not announcing the title because apparently it's a spoiler, from what I hear.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Perhaps, or have a bit of a spoiler-esque thing to it.
Right. Okay.
it's safe to say we all enjoyed the film,
yes.
We did.
and everyone should just, if you don't see this in the theaters, then you're not seeing it. Like that's the you
Yeah,
have to
this
go
is
see
the
this.
way.
It's a must.
And if you can do Dolby, do Dolby.
Dolby or IMAX, any type of digital format that you
Right.
can see it in. Jay, what's your score, man?
I'm
Because
gonna
we're going to
give-
get into spoilers next.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this again. I do think my grade could possibly go back up after a second viewing. I'll probably see it in Dolby, but I'm going to give this a B+.
Ooh, Lauren, hun, what you got?
A+.
A plus. I'm giving
Best
it,
Marvel movie ever.
and I'm giving it an A. If we could go back and put this in our top 5s, this would be close to that top spot. I don't know if I haven't seen it enough times. I've seen it twice now, but I don't know if I've seen it enough times or I've lived with it long enough for it to beat Winter Soldier. But it's up there for sure.
I think this is my favorite
it's
movie.
It's
Yeah.
worthy of it. It's definitely worthy
my
of it.
favorite Marvel movie because it brought everything I love about the Marvel movies together. All the same, all the characters I love, they're all in one movie. And I just thought the movie was overall perfect from beginning to end. And I was never bored with it, not once. So I loved it.
Awesome.
Great fun. Let's move over into our spoilers.
Spawn back! Spawn back! They brought back! They brought back!
All right, spoilers. Let's just let's do the best to taper this as much as possible. We did about 15 to 20 minutes on the film and our review for it. Let's just try to talk about our favorite bits and
So you don't want to start right from the beginning?
well, right from the beginning, it's a
Loki's dead.
so like
Dangerous.
so hashtag where's Korg? Like that pissed me off. so we get the Asgardian raft or whatever you want to call it, their arc, and we're just seeing everyone's been laid waste to.
Yeah,
Everybody's
so
dead.
I guess we're supposed to just assume everyone, all the characters
Yep.
that we left off at with Thor, they're all dead.
Yep. So Meek, Korg, and Valkyrie, even though we don't see their bodies among the dead, you either have to assume that they're dead. But Korg had a fucking character poster, man, for like.
And I mean, maybe they got blown out in space.
Piss off,
And like
Purple
you
Man.
said- What did you say? Korg, he's a pile of rocks.
he could be a
So
pile of
it's-
rocks, yeah.
It's possible he's a pile of rocks.
Yeah, because
and
Thor did kill
pulling
one
him-
of his species in Thor 2, and when he killed him, he just turned into a pile of rocks after he killed him.
Right. Do
So
they come back?
I would have loved to see Korg just go, piss off, Purple Man.
Yeah.
Me and Meek are out of here.
Yeah, it's a little surprising they just kind of went
I think there's stuff
hardcore
that's
right into it.
I think there's stuff that's on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in the trailers, we got
It is a long opening scene, though.
in
when
the
you think
trailer.
about
Right.
it.
In the trailer, we got they showed Xandar being destroyed, which is the first stone. When this picks up right here, Thanos already has the Power Stone, the purple the purple stone that was in Guardians 1. So that means that if it's already there, he's already destroyed Xandar. They mention he's destroyed Xandar. It's
Right.
something that they showed in the trailer, which means there was a scene of it. It's just cut out. So I 100% expect an extended edition of this at some point.
Yeah, there will be.
Not to mention, Korg could still show up in the next one. He could be coming in with Captain Marvel.
Maybe.
Because that was the end credits thing,
Yep.
Jay. Just in case you...
I did. I saw it.
Okay, yeah. So
Well, actually, it was really smart. The usher was actually telling the crowd as we all left, just to make sure everybody knew what that symbol meant.
was he
on the phone.
was he shirtless and dancing, going, "I'm a girl," like Usher?
kid,
Get it?
The
Get it?
kid who
Usher.
was sitting next to me was like, "Well, I don't know what that means, so I don't understand the ending."
At first, I thought it
I
was
think a lot of people didn't know.
I thought it was Hawkeye because of the way it turned into like a V that was on there, and Hawkeye's like symbol is like a
Right.
V on his chest, like supposed to be like an arrow on his chest. And then there was that starburst in the middle. I was like, what the and it took me a while. Captain Marvel's not a character that I'm huge on, and then of course I went home, looked at pictures. I was like, duh, it's Captain Marvel.
It made me wonder actually how powerful she really is. You know,
So, according to Kevin Feige, if you and this is the way Caleb from Netflix and Swill explained it to me. This is like a quote from Kevin Feige, is that if you took all of the Avengers heroes and you had a collectible card game of them, and in all of them they had like a power level, just take her and put her at the top. She's your most powerful hero that will ever exist in the MCU.
Okay.
To date.
Okay, because I actually did a little bit of research, and she was never like Thor is apparent, and Hulk is supposed to be stronger than her, or more powerful, or something like that.
Stronger, but well, let's talk about Thor's power, man. Limitless at this
Wow.
point,
Yeah, right?
Huh.
So after watching all the Asgardians be killed,
And his brother.
and Loki. He plays with the audience as well as playing with Thanos, where you feel like Loki, I thought it was going to be that Loki called Thanos there. But after seeing the destruction, I was like, there's no way he did. And right up until the end, Loki was trying to protect Asgard, a place he, despite the fact that he wanted to rule it and enslave it, he still loved it.
Oh, definitely.
And he died for it. And it was the most gruesome.
I think it was more
Death.
for his brother that he
Yeah.
died for, not Asgard. I think it's about his brother.
And in that opening scene, we got to see the Hulk get the ever-loving shit beat out of him. To the fact that the Hulk is now, and this is Lauren's theory, the Hulk's afraid. That's
why
he's-
he wouldn't come out of Bruce.
Absolutely, 100%. He was like a puppy, like just scared. Like,
Yep.
he did not want to come out and fight it again,
I mean, if
because
you think
he
about
never
it,
had that experience before.
Hulk's never had his dick knocked in the dirt.
Yeah.
Not like that.
No.
And he got the ever-loving shit beat out of him.
and he
then,
was just embarrassed.
And so Lauren was very upset about Loki dying. I was very upset about Heimdall dying. Idris Elba went.
Yeah.
He bit the. So we all know that Thanos now holds 6 gems on his finger, and at least 2 of them, the reality gem and time gem, or stones that they're calling them in this. In the comic books, it's gems. But anyway, those are 2 reset buttons that you could literally just press and everything can just go back to normal.
Right.
You could warp reality and make it what you want, or you can just reverse time. But that would mean that all the stakes that happened in this are meaningless. And I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think there are...
Well, he used it, twice in the movie?
I think there are 3 deaths that are for keeps. I think
Loki's one of them.
Loki's
one,
is for keeps.
Before the snap.
Yep.
I think
Right.
Vision, I think he's done.
I think Vision's death is for keeps, in the fact that we won't get an immediate resolution to it. And I think Gamora is for
I think
keeps.
Gamora has to be for keeps because
Yeah.
she was his key to the Soul Stone.
yeah, definitely. Yep.
So she's alive. He can still have access to the Soul Stone.
But anybody else who kind of had that, like, wet paper flowing in the wind, like, effect that happened to them all at the end when Thanos snaps his fingers, then I think they're all. I think in the next film we're going to get a quick resolution to that. I think they're all going to be brought back.
Right, because they still, when they come back, they still have to get rid of Thanos.
And-
they still have to kill him.
And Caleb brought this up to me, Caleb from Netflix and Swill, again, because we're in a spoiler chat and we were discussing it. He said, who's to say that, like, after he snaps his fingers, that the reality gem doesn't just create a pocket universe where all these people now are?
Yeah.
He doesn't quite understand the powers of these things.
True.
They could all just literally be in an alternate reality where in their reality, everyone else faded away.
You really don't know. I mean,
Exactly.
I guess it's whatever is on his mind.
Wrap
just
your fucking
immediately
minds
happens.
around that!
But I think that, I think the original core Avengers group is going to come together and then fix that.
Maybe.
And then fight Thanos? I'm not exactly sure how the story is going to go.
Those
this
original 5 are still there. I mean...
Well, obviously, Captain Marvel will be brought into the mix.
Yep. I think she's going to have her own team because on our end credits scene, we got Nick Fury saying, "Tell Clint where the rendezvous is." So, so they're calling in Clint, and I think what's going to happen to Clint is he watched his family turn into ashes and float away, which will be interesting. But we're doing a lot of speculation. Let's talk about it.
It's true. It's true. I mean, because it is random. It didn't matter. You didn't know who it was. It didn't really matter. It's just completely by random.
And Thanos says that, there's no that's the most fair way to do it, is to do it completely at random.
The hardest one to watch for me was definitely Spider-Man.
Was it? Because that was the one that bothered me the most.
Really?
Because everybody else just
yeah, but-
his was a little
and
longer. I
Spider-Man's
know.
took
He
like a
was
whole
able
minute,
to-
and he's like, "Why me? I don't want to go."
I know.
You want Tony to be like, "Shut up, take it like a man,
I think it was
and
more,
let me internalize this."
I think it was more to torture the audience because everyone felt bad when Spider-Man left.
And it's really sad that after Rocket's revelation in Guardians Volume 2 of that is his family too, and he needs them and he needs to stop being a dick to them and all that stuff that he went through that he learned from Yondu, he's the only Guardian left now. He
Right.
literally lost what he felt like he gained in Volume 2 of Guardians.
And then what we were saying,
He's the only Guardian
what
left.
we were saying, Groot's not gone because he's gonna pop out of the hammer since his arm is the hammer,
Groot
so he's
is-
gonna pop out of the hammer.
just plant that hammer in a pot, and then you got Groot with a giant like Stormbreaker head, and he just walks around smashing shit.
I mean, do you want to talk on Star-Lord's character?
Captain, I see you've
Gained
taken
a
to my
couple
beard.
pounds.
I see you've taken to my beard. This is my friend, Space Tree. I am Groot. I'm Steve Rogers. That was one of my favorite sequences. My friend, Space Tree,
Yes,
and Furry Rabbit.
and a rabbit.
Rabbit. Oh God, yeah. Thor saying rabbit the whole movie in every situation was brilliant.
And in keeping with Rocket in his in his change of character that he had in Volume 2, he didn't flip out over it.
Nope.
no,
He never once corrected Thor that he wasn't a rabbit, or that he didn't get upset.
Well,
about
I
it.
mean, even Rocket doesn't know he's a raccoon.
That's true. Yeah, because there ain't no
'Cause
thing
they-
like him
right?
except him. So after everything that happens, everything that everyone said was right. Thor did go to Doctor Strange, and that's when the first attack on New York happens. Spider-Man gets into the fray, and I remember like all of that stuff. Those are the parts of the movie that I felt I wasn't sure about the film yet. I wasn't sure about that movie yet until after the sequence with Captain America. That sequence in where it was Sweden, I guess, is where they were hiding.
Scotland.
Scotland.
So that after that sequence, that's where I was like, all right, I'm in. As soon as the Guardian showed up, pretty much so. I strapped myself in. I was ready.
After like the second half of the movie, all of a sudden every action sequence, everything went really cool, really badass. It was really cool to see everybody. But you're right, some of it felt rushed on Earth a little bit. It was nice to see everybody.
15 minutes into the film, the first spaceship is in New York destroying shit. So I was like, oh shit, man, it's moving fast.
Well, you figured these, they came there for a purpose. They weren't going to fuck around and make friends.
Yeah, it's not like they really knew exactly what Earth was. They just thought it was like a nothing planet.
Right.
We're just
Would've
going to
if
take these
they just-
stones and just give them back to Thanos. Here you go, Thanos.
They would have known if they just took Loki with them.
Yeah.
It's true.
True.
It's true. They should have took him
Would
up.
have known what they were in for. Tony Stark was hilarious though in those first 15 minutes. When he called Ebony Maw Squidward. and he kept referring to Doctor Strange and Wong as wizards.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Kid, follow him. That's one of the wizards.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good contrast back and forth with him and Doctor Strange, and for a good long time, even in space.
Let's talk about the big emotional punches for the movie. Gamora's the only one who knows where the Soul Stone is. And surprise, we all thought it was on Wakanda. Nope. It wasn't on Wakanda. It was on some planet we've never heard of. And that's fine. I'm glad.
And this is the scene when you got excited.
Okay, so I got really excited when I
You,
started hearing
you punched the air.
a terrible German accent coming from a cloaked figure. And like I was like, that's Red Skull! Like really loud. Lauren's like, okay, all right. And he takes the hood down and reveals that he's
Yep,
Red Skull.
You punched the air.
I was very excited. I've been wondering where the fuck Red Skull went. We know he got zapped off into space.
And now
but we
we
didn't
know.
know where, but now we know. And I love that moment that Gamora's laughing at Thanos, like just laughing at him.
Right,
She's
because-
like, you love nothing.
Right. Red Skull said, no. You can't just take the Soul Stone.
a soul
You
for a
have
soul.
to give up what you love the most.
And she laughs at him because, in her mind, he worships death and destruction
Right.
and genocide. So it's a man who loves nothing. And when he turns around,
And her childhood trauma, just her warped perception of everything.
Yeah.
Right.
It affected it.
It is like it is like the most like abusive father-daughter relationship
yeah.
I could possibly think of. But there's still love there. Like at the moment that she took his hand when he was laying waste to her home planet, he loved her.
It was immediate. It was immediate.
From that minute on.
There was a counterbalance,
right?
Or he saw a part of him in her that he really loved and just wanted to protect.
Always been cantankerous towards him, but he still loved her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was heartbreaking to not only because Gamora's dying, like when she gets thrown off the cliff. I mean, that's heartbreaking in and of itself, but actually seeing and feeling the pain of Thanos having to do it
and seeing his tears fly down his face.
Then on the
was tough.
On the opposite side of the coin, when Thor is talking with Rocket and Rocket's trying to have like a one-on-one with him, and Thor's still trying to keep up that facade of, like, yes, well, revenge and death and it's all good. It's all good motivators. And I was like, and you look at him and like the tears just rolling down his eyes, and like you actually felt that for Thor, that
right.
For him,
now Thor lost his entire family.
For Thor, it seems like it's far less of saving, half of the galaxy. For him, it's more than that. He's very much like Drax. He just wants to kill Thanos now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also on the other side of the argument with Star-Lord, he as well has lost everything.
So,
and it makes getting to that.
So, but me and Lauren were
particular
talking about
moment
this.
where the movie could be over with Thanos.
Right. Well,
the glove almost coming off.
Right. Where they
Mm-hmm.
which
and he couldn't hold it together for 5 more seconds.
That was one of my favorite fight sequences.
It was really cool.
It was cool to see. It was cool seeing Doctor Strange throw these platforms for Star-Lord to jump off of.
Right.
And he's using the sling ring to make portals, and Spider-Man's popping in through the portals.
Yeah.
And Iron Man is
all kinds of tricks.
It was very cool to see them all working well together.
Yep.
And working like that, because you got stuff like that in Avengers, the very first Avengers.
Yeah.
And I felt like we haven't seen a whole lot of like that level of teamwork going on, but in all of these fight sequences, there was that level of teamwork that I absolutely loved. But yeah, in that moment when Star-Lord finds out that Gamora's gone and he starts pistol whipping Thanos despite warning, me and Lauren were talking about it. It bothers me a little bit that he was one of the people that disappeared.
Right.
Because now we're going to get robbed of him having to deal with the regret of letting Thanos go.
Right, because if he had just let them, take the glove off,
it all would have been over.
It would have been over, and
probably
right.
But now we as the audience, at
the same time, when you think about it, also though, he is probably one of the more absolute naive humans in all the characters in this movie as well.
Why? Because he was raised by a space pirate and he never aged past the age of 12.
Right.
He's a 12-year-old boy, Peter Quill.
Right.
That's all he is.
He doesn't have
and
that emotional
just lost
stability.
His first love.
And he's one sandwich away.
And his mother's gone.
From not fitting in his suit.
Yeah, I know.
He gained
that was a
10
great
pounds.
joke, by the way. That was funny.
Well, I thought that was funny because Chris Pratt has done interviews where he's talked about like people are always watching his weight now. Like, because he lost so much weight and stuff like that to do, 13 hours and stuff like that. And
he's got these tent poles with Jurassic Park. And
Right. And now he's, he is like this action star. He feels like he's under scrutiny and people are always watching his weight. And so when he gains 10 pounds, it's in the media. So I felt like that was kind of like a meta dig at that. And I thought that was
a little
really,
Deadpool moment.
Yeah, it was very, but it was very funny at the same time. That's it. I'm getting a Bowflex. We're gonna get some dumbbells. You can't eat dumbbells, dipshit. Finally, I love the sequence when they get to the Star Forge and we see Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
As a big man.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to be in it.
I had no clue.
A large dwarf.
Yep.
I was very happy to see.
I know, and he gets to be bigger than everyone now.
It was a longer sequence than I expected it to be, though.
But you get to see the desperation of Thor. Like,
right. I did like that, though.
I mean, it is a little bit of of a problem in the fact that the whole point of Thor Ragnarok was that he's not the god of hammers, he's the god of thunder, and he doesn't need a hammer.
But yet he still
To
wants
immediately
a hammer.
in this film, it's just like, I need a new hammer. The only way to beat Thanos is with a new hammer. It's like, did you learn anything? What about your sparkle fingers? You remember the sparkle
right.
fingers? Why haven't you used those at all against Thanos or anybody? But you see the desperation in him when he's pretty much told he's going to have to hold that Star Forge open, and it's probably going to kill him.
Right.
And he does it anyway. And that's the first action little Groot takes, is to
He was funny. Just
to form
Groot,
Stormbreaker together.
Teenage Groot in the background playing his game.
Throughout the
I'm
whole movie
Groot.
until that moment.
So
And that was fantastic. And it was good seeing him fight. Because, again, you know, Groot's an odd little fun character, and you don't see him fight too often.
And my boy Captain America doesn't get a whole lot to do in this film.
No.
No,
I think
was a
He looks
little
great, though.
He'll be the heart in the next one, though.
Sure.
He'll be the one that solidifies everybody. In this one, though, he didn't have a whole lot to do. Black Panther didn't have a whole lot to do. Everything on Earth was they didn't because
no.
they didn't even get to deal with Thanos like everyone else did until
Into the last 5 minutes,
moment.
yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Thor's new hammer, Stormbreaker, which is what
It's like an axe.
It's an axe. It's a hammer with an axe
Side to it.
axe back end. So he gets that, and it's also able to summon the Bifrost.
Yep.
So now Thor can instant transmission anywhere he
Yep, he
wants.
can go
when he
anywhere.
wants.
Yep.
So
Which was a great scene when he showed up.
that was one of my
awesome.
favorite.
Yes, that
so
was-
fucking cool.
And when he shows up and that thing is spinning around and it's just taking out those.
Oh man, the crowd.
I think that's when I got
we
the most
went
excited.
nuts.
Probably was when that
we
started
went
happening.
nuts. The entire
So
theater went
that
nuts.
part was really cool. But the even cooler part was the brief team up of Winter Soldier and Rocket Raccoon. How much for the gun? It's not for sale. How much for the arm? I'm gonna get that arm. But there's that moment where
He picks
Rocket's
him
about
up.
to get killed.
Rocket is shooting at everyone's legs. And Winter Soldier lifts them up.
Picks them up and they're
just
spinning around.
in circles.
Love that part.
Yeah.
Love that
It
part.
was funny.
But how many times can Bucky die? I mean, stop trying to kill Bucky to make me
he
sad.
faded away.
Stop doing it.
Yeah, and he was the first one, right?
He was, yeah.
He
He's
was the first
First,
one.
second.
Black Panther was the first one that we
Black
saw
Panther
disappear.
was. Oh, okay. I thought
Yep.
it was Bucky.
So I mean, that part was great when Thanos
He was
is
just
throwing.
like Steve, and like
Yeah.
you know,
Thanos throws everything he has Thor's way, and Thor is with the hammer is able to block it and break it, throwing the hammer at him.
go right through it.
Yeah.
essentially.
And the hammer digs deep inside of Thanos' chest. And I loved when Thor like gets face to face with him and he's having his death throes and you're like, oh my God, is this over? And he's like, yo,
Yeah.
should have aimed for the head.
But
then-
my
son of a bitch!
my
Then-
heart
but then
stopped.
how could
I was like, wait,
how
what just
could
happened?
Thor talk shit to Thanos if he aimed for the head, chopped it off, and it's like,
right.
damn, I had some things
Then
to
you
say to
wouldn't
him.
have had to look in my wonky eye.
Yeah. The eye that perfectly fits his face.
The eye that was smuggled in Rocket's ass.
Oh, that was funny.
I mean, the film was just filled with so many great moments that
Yeah.
you could sit there and try to pick it apart, and it's hard to because whatever down moment there was, it was immediately forgotten by
my
fantastic
grade could be
moments.
very low. I mean, after the second viewing, it could easily go back up.
Yeah, it was
quite a
just
bit,
it was
but-
just a film that it's just so much fun, and where it leaves us is in a place that this film very much to me was, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are making this comparison, and it always gets brought up in any type of episodic film series, but this for me was the Marvel Universe's Empire Strikes Back. Your heroes are divided, and they are.
But in Empire Strikes Back, did half the cast die?
No,
or
just the
fade off.
the most important part was left up to limbo when Han Solo disappears. But your heroes are left in dire straits at the end. They spent the entire film apart, and even when they're all together, they lose. And I loved that last shot when Thanos said, like, when all this, when Doctor Strange is talking, when all this is done, what are you going to do? And he said, I'll find somewhere and I'll watch a sunset.
Right.
And the movie ends with Thanos completely happy with himself.
Yeah.
Now, Lauren came up
Satisfied,
with
yeah.
Lauren came up with a great theory. We know that there was 14 million odd sum scenarios.
And Doctor Strange saw them win in one. And that's why Doctor Strange, when he was on his way floating into little pieces of dust or whatever it is, that's why he was like,
the final play.
I had to do this. It's the final card. Like,
so
I had to play.
Giving him the time stone, allowing him to complete the gauntlet.
Because I'm
was
sure
the only way to
Doctor
win.
Strange could have easily, when Peter was beating the shit out of Thanos when they were trying to rip off the glove, guaranteed Doctor Strange could have took a second to throw one of his little time warp thread thingies at Peter to knock him off.
Yeah.
He could have, but he knew this had to play out the way it was playing
Everything
out.
that happened had to happen so that they can beat Thanos.
And that was another one of the reasons why I did really enjoy Doctor Strange's role in this film as well. And then the ending was perfect, and I thought it was really bold just to end on a somber note, kind of like a Christopher Nolan ending almost, where like all of a sudden just boom, credits. You know, it was like
but it didn't, because this film ended on a happy note. Because
for Thanos,
because this was
Because
I was
Thanos.
gonna say who's happy?
this is
Because-
Thanos.
This is Thanos'
picture.
film.
Yeah.
Thanos,
You're
that's
right,
why
Dave.
you got so much Thanos in this film, because this wasn't Avengers Infinity
But
War.
even with
This was
Thanos,
Thanos' Infinity War.
Even with Thanos,
And
they
nobody knew
ended
that.
him maybe within the Soul Stone talking to Gamora. Well, small Gamora,
Yeah.
and Gamora's like, "Was it worth it?"
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like,
Yeah, it is. To him, it is. He sits there watching that sunset, knowing that he's the savior of the galaxy in his mind.
Yeah.
Which is-
his
I
rationale in his
think
mind.
he's going to regret killing Gamora.
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think so either. I
he
really
was
don't.
absolute in his resolve. He was
The whole time.
absolute in it. He said that he walked away from his destiny once. He's not going to let it happen again. So he's 100%. He's in, and it didn't matter what it took to get there.
I thought that's why they did the scene with him and small Gamora, because
No,
he's probably like, damn,
No,
probably.
Well,
I think that was just to show his resolve.
Or do you think he's upset that he had to kill Gamora? But I don't know. I feel like he's going to regret it.
He's definitely a deep character.
He's gonna. Yes, I mean, he's gonna feel remorse. He's gonna miss her, but I think he wouldn't change things. He wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
not
he
kill her.
did smile looking at the sunset. You know, he wasn't sad. He was smiling.
I'll have to rewatch it.
He's
I'll have to look at that.
He's
And
done what he set out to do, and
Mm-hmm.
it's over. And for him anyway.
Well, I don't think anybody going into this movie thought that this was going to be such a Thanos movie.
And I'm so happy it was.
Yeah,
and you know, being probably the best villain in the MCU. I mean, really, it was definitely. I think he actually beat out Killmonger, which is kind of cool. The back-to-back Marvel movies, we're having two of the best villains.
Two of the best villains,
you know,
yeah.
and in such a different way, though, like a different kind of whole different kind of character. It was really, really exciting. So this is definitely going to be an intriguing next year movie.
It's gonna be fun to rewatch this one at home when it's home.
Yeah.
when we're able to bring it home and watch it. It's kind of weird. So like, I don't want to go back and watch any other Marvel movie right now,
no.
because like I feel like this like where this left us. It's just I just want what's next, and it's going to be tough because we have two MCU films coming before the fourth one. We have
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I already said will obviously take place
Before this
all this,
happens.
because we know that Clint and Ant-Man and Scott both took deals and they're both on house arrest.
Right.
And we see in the trailer that he's on house arrest. He has the collar on his foot. That one will end with him seeing the news footage of New York under attack. I can almost guarantee it. And, and then we have Captain Marvel, which is coming out in March
Which
of
they
next
already
year.
said that was a taken back.
It's a
in what-
prequel. It takes place in the early 1990s.
She's coming to our time as well.
Exactly. So we'll get a taste of her power in that, but that's what her power was 25 years ago.
So right.
Does it grow?
It possibly could. She could become,
and it could be her learning her powers. I think her costume I know changes a lot, so maybe it is a kind of
But what I'm saying is, it's going to be hard to watch those movies. I mean, I'm still going to go and I'm going to enjoy them, but it's going to be hard to watch them before I get the resolution to all of this. You know, it feels a little.
I'm really excited for Captain Marvel.
It feels disjointed to me.
Yeah. Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp is essentially just going to be a fun, just like revisit movie. Like after this heavy movie, you get Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, it's like a fun, refreshing summer movie. And then Captain Marvel is going to be a heavy movie. I think it's going to be a lot going on. It's an important role. It's an important character and an introduction. And the directors I love. So I'm excited for those guys to do a big tentpole movie.
And it's going to be adding a lot to the Marvel Universe. I mean, the Kree are back. Ronan the Accuser from Guardians 1, who they mentioned that Peter Quill in Avengers Infinity War, they mentioned that he's the one that challenged Ronan to a dance-off.
Right. Tell him about the dance-off.
I'm distracting you, you turd blossom. And so will Mike Douglas will be a younger Mike Douglas in Captain Marvel. Agent Coulson's supposed to be in it. Nick Fury, young without an eye patch. Like so they're going back. They're like, and they're going to be telling a very early MC, and she is the first Marvel superhero. That's the story they're telling of the first, true Marvel superhero.
It's going to be interesting
in a modern age,
90s. Before technology, really. So
it's gonna be a Nirvana Green Day.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for this. This is like my generation.
So that's going to do it for us here on Super Movie Brothers. I hope you enjoyed our review. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on Avengers Infinity War. If you'd like to reach out to us, if there's anything we didn't discuss that you wish we did, please reach out to us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod on there. We will be back with normal programming next week. And then coming up after this episode airs, we have our first movie cocktail in over 2 months. We have our movie cocktail for Event Horizon. It's episode 94. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Cheers.